I make the thrilling and exciting move to New York City, and I am paralyzed with fear. How can I make this place a home? I move from my straight out of a Norman Rockwell painting hometown of Havertown, Pennsylvania, where everybody knows my name and feels like family, to New York City, where I'm surrounded by strangers. I find myself searching for connections and looking for spots that feel like home. I find the Upper West Side and I fall in love with how charming it is. I find a church and a dance studio, and I love that the park is nearby because it feels like home, where Merwood Park was right down the street from my house. Then I find Zabar's on West 80th and Broadway, a food emporium which was featured in the movie You've Got Mail, so it feels a little comforting. I walk in and it seems like everybody knows one another, so I love that feeling there. Then I discovered that there's a cafe right next door. I walk in and it looks like a cafeteria where everybody's holding these red plastic trays and then walking through the line. And I discovered that the soup is $4. It's a steal, and it's delicious, and it's comforting. I go to sit down, and I notice that there's this big rectangular table where everyone crams around it. Most people aren't really conversing with one another. People are reading their phones or reading the paper. Occasionally, there are some women that sit and talk with one another, and I love eavesdropping on their conversations as they gossip about doctor's appointments or people they know. But most people don't pay attention to one another, the true New York way. Then I notice this older woman with gray hair, striking blue eyes, and a beaded child's necklace around her neck. She motions for me to come sit down, and she says to me, "Sit down." I tell stories. I do as I'm told, and she asks me where I'm from. And when I tell her where I work, she goes, "Oh my gosh, I know that bakery. I love it." And as people start coming in, she says to them, "This woman is an actress, and she works at this bakery, and there's always a line around the corner. You wouldn't believe it." Suddenly, I'm not a stranger. Her name is Paula. She grew up in Hungary. And when she was 12 years old, she was captured by the Germans and put into Auschwitz. And when the camps were liberated, she moved to New York City and had to fight to stay here. She worked a number of different jobs, from nannying to a jazz club to a cafe on 72nd Street. Now she spends her time at Zabar's, and I love going to visit her. Sometimes when she tells me that she has news, she says, "Sit down." And when I ask her what's going on, she says, "Eat first. You need your strength for this one." When my grandfather dies, she gives me a kiss on the cheek as I tear up and says to me, "Sometimes we have to be brave." Maybe it is possible to find connection. We just have to wave, look up, and give a nice smile, just like Paula.